Good day, everyone. I'm Yamani Parini. I will present about the integrated language teaching skill in teaching English as a foreign language. Without any further ado, let's just start. Before I explain about the aspects of integrated language teaching skills, let us discuss about the nature of the language skills. According to Richards and Smith, 2002, the four language skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, are the mode or manner in which language is used for communication. Anytime a person wants to communicate using a language, they employ the combination of these skills. While communicating through the oral language, they will receive the message by listening and respond it by speaking. In the written language, they will receive the message by reading and respond it by writing. So in short, these four skills are related to each other, especially in the communication. By means of listening and reading, a person gets information as the input language, and by employing speaking and writing, they will make the language output based on the language inputs. And then I want to explain about the reason why the four skills should be integrated. As we know in everyday life, communication needs to use the four language skills together. Using a single skills is very rare because anytime people engage in a conversation to interact with other people, they will listen to get information, and then they will speak to give their own idea. According to Harrison, 1998, the four language skills are seen in integration. So in the classroom, the activity should be taught in integration in order to arrive at ease in communication. In line with Sarchik and Yasemska, 2015, in the real life, each person can use the four skills in isolation. All these skills serve as a bridge that connects a person with other people or the society. I will give the example in the lecture or in the classroom when the teacher or the lecturer is explaining about the topic or the material. The teacher will use their speaking skills to explain it to the students, while the students will get information by listening, and at the same time they will write some notes about the teacher explanation. And at the last, in the discussion session, both the teacher and the students both the teacher and the students listen and speak in turn. Realizing this, to enable students to use the language they are learning in the real life, this skill should be learned in an integrative approach. So the integrated skills approach emphasizes that interaction is both that means and the goal of the learning language. Students have to develop their communicative abilities and competencies. To enable the students develop their skills, the language components and skills must not be separated. Hinkle 2010 stated that a language may need to be broken into parts to study it. However, to use the language, we need to integrate the skills and the components. The part of study here means like when we learn the language, we will have some kinds of subtopic like psycholinguistic, sociolinguistic, literature, or even the poetry or the prose fiction. While in learning those part of the language study, we need to use the four skills integrated each other. In line with this, Harmer 2007 stated both of the receptive skills and the productive skills are two sides of the same coin. They cannot be separated because one skill can reinforce another in various ways. And then we have the advantages of integrated language teaching. According to Carroll's 1990, there are four advantages of integrated language teaching. The first is the continuity in teaching or learning program because in this approach, tasks are closely related to each other. And the second, it provides realistic learning because when we have discussion in integrated language teaching, the teacher will provide a real example, especially in communication form. The third is provides chances to know and redeploy the language learned by the students. And the last is increases students' confidence, especially for the weaker or the less confident learner, because by having this integrated language teaching, students are able to explore themselves. Another opinion from Kabir 2013, there are 5 advantages of integrated language teaching. The first is this language skills integration provides more purposeful and meaningful learning at all proficiency levels. And the second, it brings variety into the classroom and also provide the student-centered approach. And the third, develop students' critical thinking because this learning method asks students to use their four basic language skills. And next, the language learning comes nearer to the way we do in the real life because teacher will provide the real life example. And the last is that is create students' motivation. In integrated language teaching, there are two types. The first is the content-based language teaching, and the second is the task-based language teaching. In the content-based language teaching, it is probably the most frequently used of the language skills integration. In this mode, students practice language skills while engaging with activities focusing on subjects or content provided by the teacher. The goal of this type of language teaching is to develop students' communicative competencies. The content here refers to two things. The first is the function or the communicative purposes for which students use the target language. And the second is the use of subject matters for the language teaching purposes. So the three major models content-based language teaching according to Oxford 2002. There are the theme-based language teaching model, adjunct language teaching model, and the sheltered model. In the theme-based language skills, are interconnected to the study of a theme or a topic, which was carefully selected to ensure it is interesting for the students and offers a wide variety of language skills to be practiced. The themes or topics that are suitable for elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade levels are relatively easy to find on the internet. So this language teaching theme-based is applicable at any grade level. And also in the theme-based language teaching, because it is easy to find in the internet, it is also suitable for heterogeneous sets of learners. That's why it is said as the most helpful and frequently form of content-based language teaching. In the adjunct language teaching model, the students will enroll in a language class and the content lessons. There should be a coordination of objectives and assignment between the language and the content teacher. Since this model requires a linking or adjuncting between language and content, it could be implemented only in the college or university students. And the last, we have the sheltered language teaching model, which requires students knowledge about the subject in simplified target language to suit their proficiency level. We move to the task-based language teaching. In the task-based language teaching, students participate in communicative tasks in the target language. To let the students develop their language skills, they are assigned to work in pair or group to solve a problem. For example, is in my teaching simulation, I give my students a text about the procedure text, and then they will read it one by one. So every student will have a chance to read, and they will listen to other students that makes them work together. And at the end, when they have finished reading, they will ask to find the generic structure of the text. To effectively develop students' language skills, the assigned learning tasks should include 4 components. The first is the goals or implicit, explicit outcomes of tasks. And the second is inputs, the verbal and the non-verbal data presented to the learners. For example, like what I did to my students, I provided text about the procedure text, and also it can be a short story, a movie, or pictures. And the third, the activities, what the learners actually do with the input. For example, they need to analyze the generic structure. And then the last, we have the teacher and learner roles in the classroom. The techniques for integrated language skills. In integrated language skills, teaching or learning process, the content and the activity should be sequenced in a logical progression. By placing the easier aspects at the beginning, which are then followed by the more difficult ones. The skills integration to the topic or task could be done in various ways, but the most common and convenient ways is using the pattern that sequences them from receptive, the listening and reading skills, to productive skills, writing and speaking. Such integration can be realized by exposing the learner with a body of information from enjoyable, authentic facts, videos, music, magazines, and will read, watch, or listen to, and later asking them to reproduce at least some of its content in spoken and written language. Despite its great potential and various advantages offers with teaching with this integrated skills teaching, some factors can hinder the integrated language skills teaching approach. COVID 2013 provide the three factors that can hinder the integrated teaching skills. They are the teacher factors, school factors, and the learner factors. From the teacher factors, it is related to the competencies and belief that English teacher may not have enough knowledge and skills as to how to teach the language skills in integration. English teacher may also think that it is much easier and simpler to teach language skills in isolation than to teach two or more language skills at the same time. Some teachers believe that it is impossible to teach more than one language skills at a time. In order to succeed integrated skill teaching, the teacher must be willing to collaborative those four skills in such a way. The teacher should create friendly classroom conditions that will make the students feel safe, connected, and supported in the whole learning process and activities. The hindering factors related to the school concern with the climate, policy, and the equipment. The school needs to be conducive condition, and it should provide enough instructional materials and equipment such as books, magazine, LCD, computer, and so on. Classroom also need to be comfortable and could be easily set up to meet the learning process requirements. Student factors or the learner factors that may hinder the integrated language skills teaching approach are related to their motivation, attitudes, and language proficiency. Students with low motivation, very poor language proficiency, and negative attitude towards their teachers may hamper integrated language skills teaching. So those are the aspects of integrated language teaching skills that should be known for the teacher or future teacher in order to improve students for basic skills in learning English. Because in daily life, to make a communication, students should combine the receptive skill to get the information from other people, and they also need to use the productive skills to express their own idea. Therefore, as a teacher, giving teaching strategies that are suitable is the best way for this case. I think that's all from me. I hope this is useful for you, and I hope to see you again in the next opportunity, and goodbye.